Hey, it's Harvey here, and we got another transformational Tuesday for you. I'm so excited for you to see and experience the same kind of steps that people are going through to create the life of their dreams and get to the next level of their property journey or their income level. This week, we got something super awesome. We actually recorded Stevie G's Transformational Tuesday in his property, in one of his projects. So you get to see and look around all of his rooms and the property as a whole. So awesome episode. Make sure you stick all the way through because you need to see all the different steps and all the different challenges that came up and how he dealt with them. Hey, it's Harvey here. Welcome back to another Transformational Tuesday. So today we're going to be speaking with the awesome Stevie G. So I would normally say welcome to my home, or we'd normally be doing this online, but today we're in your property, one of your projects.
Yes, and this is the monster. And we couldn't do Transformational Tuesday in any other home other than the monster now, could we?
Okay, well this is good. This is good because, well, first of all, I want to say thank you for being here, and I'm excited for you to share your story. I think a lot of people are going to relate to your journey. So anybody watching here, I just want you to make sure you're going to get all the points and all the steps that Stevie G talks through on how he's going through his development personally, but also with your property journey and how much money and things are starting to come your way because of all the action that you've been taking. So first of all, the question I always like to ask is, we're talking about property investing here and the transformation you've been through and that you've had in yourself to start taking the action and delivering on these results. But why property in the first place? What was it about property that got you interested?
Do you know, that's a really good question actually. I remember years ago thinking, well, I was at university and I was renting a room in a house. And I remember thinking, if I own this place, I wouldn't have to rent. And I always thought, like, rent to me was kind of like dead money. So I always thought if I could own a place and somebody's paying the rent, then that's sort of buying the house for me. So I always thought property would be a good thing to get into. It took me years and years before I actually did anything about it though. And it started off a couple of years ago. I decided, you know, I live in London. I can't afford to buy any property, investment property in London. But what I could do is read everything that I can and learn everything I can about property, so when I have the chance to have some money, that I could actually start investing in London. And it was only from actually reading books and listening to podcasts and YouTube videos that I found out actually you don't need to invest in London. You can invest further up north, as long as you've got the right team around you to manage the property. You don't actually need to be investing on your doorstep. Okay,
good. So let's go back to the fact that you said, you said you were at uni, right?
Yeah.
So when you're at uni, you thought, owning a property sounds like a good deal here because I can have someone else paying down my mortgage and paying the rent rather than actually me having to do that. So then you said it took you what happened? You didn't take any action?
Yeah.
What was the stories you told yourself? Because I'm sure people want to know, and people have probably got similar, things going on in their mind. So how can you cut that? Well, first of all, do you wish what you're doing now you'd have done sooner?
100% yes.
Yeah. So what was it that caused that gap?
Well, the first gap was I was still in student mode. When I finished uni, I didn't get a proper job. I still partied for a couple of years, going out with my mates, drinking, just working part-time. I didn't really know what I wanted to do for work. I went to university, did a degree in engineering, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to be an engineer. In the end, I took a job in engineering and actually quite enjoyed it. And I was saving up to buy my own house to live in. And what happened there was, living in London, the prices are so expensive, I couldn't afford to buy a house on my own. So I saved up, spent years saving up, and house prices back then were like 250 grand for a house. I saved up for many years. Then when I thought I was ready to buy my house, they were now 350 grand. They had gone up way more than I'd been saving. So I knew that I needed to get on the ladder as quick as I could. Otherwise there'd be no chance of buying a place. In the end, I ended up buying a place with my best friend. Went 50-50 on a house. And over 7 years, that's gone from, we bought for 330,000, that's now worth over $500,000. So I knew I needed to get into property as an investment and it just kind of went from there. So the next story I had was, well, I need to invest in London because I need to be on the doorstep so I can check on the properties. And it was only from reading books, listening to podcasts, and hearing other people talk about property that I realised actually I could invest in a cheaper area where you actually get better returns, you get higher yields, you make more money on your investment.
Okay, cool. So eventually when you did start to take the action, then you said that, or the thing that got you intrigued was, oh, actually I don't have to invest in London. Is that what kind of got you into it then?
So I made the decision to learn everything I could about property so that when I had money, that I could. Because, you know, you could sit in your ass doing nothing and then maybe you have some money, but you don't know what to do with it. So I learned all the theory that I could. And as I started asking questions and talking to different people and learning, I realised my actual kind of perception of investing in London wasn't actually the best kind of plan to go for. So from taking action, I learned a better way, a better strategy. And a good friend of mine, Lewis Perrin, he told me, he said to me a long time ago, a quote, which is, action creates opportunity. So by taking action and talking to different people, meeting different people, I learned a whole new way of doing property.
Good. So what happened on that journey then?
So on the journey, after meeting Lewis, and he did a free meet-up event in a pub that is near where I live in Epsom. So once a month, a bunch of property investors would go there, have a beer, chat about property, and just network. And I love chatting about property, and I could chat about property all day, but nobody really wants to hear that unless they invest in property. So it's a good place to go to. And Lewis actually bought a house in Liverpool via a guy who viewed a property for him and sourced it to him. So Lewis had never even been to the property, and it was, you know, bought this property, and that was actually managed by a guy called Dan Henderson. And then from chatting with Lewis, I decided, well, I could get Dan to find a property for me. So then I started chatting with Dan, came up to Liverpool, met him, took him out for breakfast, had a couple of drinks with him as well, and he sort of showed me around and told me what good postcodes are and what bad postcodes are in this area. And it's just kind of gone from there, you know, just chatting to different people, expanding my knowledge. But it's just taking a step, taking some action, and then a whole load of opportunities arise.
So how did that happen? Because you talked to me about reading a book, first of all, and the book said go to networking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you read the book, you went to the networking, so what was the kind of steps that's leading us up?
Okay, so from the networking, so I met Lewis, and Lewis had mentioned about the training that you guys did, and I didn't take action straight away. And then Lewis, on his monthly event, he hosts different guest speakers, and then Ray Catchpole and Natasha Catchpole came down, and they did a little presentation on PowerPoint, and they talked about their journey, how they were doing HMOs, doing them up, refinancing them. And I remember speaking to Natasha and Ray at the end of the event, and they were also talking about the events that you do. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go along to one of your free events and learn a bit more about it. But I decided not to tell Lewis that I was going, I decided to surprise him. So I went to the event, and Lewis surprised me by not being there because his girlfriend was giving birth. So I ended up going to the event, meeting a whole load of people there, learning a lot about property, learning a lot about HMOs, learning a lot about mindset. And then it wasn't at the event that I actually signed up. I took a couple of days to think about it. And what's quite funny is, because I said to myself, I'm really busy at the moment, I don't have time to invest in property with my full-time job. I've got a holiday planned when the 4-day training program was on. So I decided, well, I won't actually invest in myself now. I will go in February and do the training then. And obviously the February event didn't actually happen, but I basically made a decision, go on holiday and get drunk with my mates, or go to 4-day property training. So I signed up with you guys, went to that event. I've now got this house that we're sitting in. I've got another house down the road that's finished as well, ready to be tenanted. And then I've got the house next door to that one, which is just going into refurb now. So taking action by going to the property training instead of getting drunk with my mates has led to this path.
Yeah, good. Okay, so what would you say? So first of all, let's just focus on some of this, what you just said. I mean, we'll have a quick look around this probably in a moment, just so we can give people the real insight of what the end product can look like. But just give us some background on these 3 deals that you just talked about.
Okay, so
Was this the first one, or was the other one the first one?
this was the first deal that I found personally, and this was the first one that I liaised with the broker, the solicitor, and did all that stuff, you know. So there was another property which was a little bit before this one in terms of getting the offer accepted, and that one exchanged and completed a little bit before, but they both finished at the same time. Now this one, I haven't put any of my own money in, this has all been from investors. I've raised finance from sort of friends and family, I've raised finance from a bank loan and also a money transfer credit card. So this deal was purely other people's money. And partly that was just to prove that I could do it to myself, you know, that I could actually raise that money. You know, I see people talking about it on Facebook, I see other people doing it, and I thought, can I do that?
So how much money have you raised overall since the start of your journey?
The last time I counted, it was 257,000, but that was before I've raised another 45,000 from another investor and 10 from another investor. So over 300,000.
So over £300,000 in private investor finance,
Yes.
doing deals, not using your own money.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So, okay, so you raised investor finance, you're doing this. So this one you call the Monster.
This is the Monster.
Yeah.
The other one down the road is called the Beast.
Why is it called the Beast?
It's just because it's a beast. I mean, it's a 3-story house, so it's got 2 rooms and a loft. Each room's huge. It's got huge gardens. Everything about this property is just huge. Now, the house next door, we had an issue with planning on this property that we're trying to buy. We're doing it as a 7-bedroom. There were some questions from the planning department of the council, and they said in the end that we couldn't get planning for 7 people because next door is a residential house and they don't like more than 6 people sharing a party wall. But next door was up for sale as well, so I've gone and bought that one to turn into a 6-bed HMO, and also that allows me to get a 7-bed on the first one. Now, from doing lots of Facebook Lives and videos and pictures and telling everyone what I'm doing, I've raised 25k from one investor from picking the keys up to that property, and I've used that 25k investment as a deposit for this one. But the same person wanted to do a property with me, so he lives in Hong Kong at the moment. He's from the UK, but he's moved out to Hong Kong. So he's fully financing property number 3, which is the Beauty and the Beast, yeah? So he's fully financing that one, whereas I'm using my power team, my contacts, and I bought the deal to him, I'm managing it, and just using my mad property skills to get it done.
Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed Stevie's journey and also seeing his property and some of the challenges that he had as well. Any questions, put it in the comments. Any feedback that you've got, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to see if Stevie wants to answer any questions that you might have about him and his journey as well. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on the notifications bell so you can be up to date with everything that we've got going on.